Alright, welcome back to another episode of the Speakin Spring podcast series. This will be the last episode before turkey season, which is crazy to even think about. This is episode 6, so this would be the last one. Man, it is crazy to think about that we are in the week of turkey hunting. For a lot of people, including ourselves here in South Carolina, and as well as down in South Florida, or not really South Florida, but the season above South Florida. Their season starts this weekend as well, and I think Mississippi's already started. So man, it's flew by, but at the same time, it's taking even longer than it seems like it would. We had the extra day because of leap year, which obviously it's something I have thought about, believe it or not, having an extra day to go through into a turkey season. But before we get started, it's just gonna be me, Charlie, on this episode. Will is not with us today. He is in upstate today doing some scouting. He's gonna be up there for about a week or two before we may or may not go to South Florida. We're gonna get into that in a minute, but just kind of wanted to let y'all know why Will's not here and that it'll just be me on this episode. This is gonna be a shorter episode, or it should be. The last episode was a shorter one, so this one should be fairly short as well. But yeah, as I've already said, this is the week of turkey season. Crazy to think about. Our youth season starts this weekend of this release date, so super excited. And like I said, by the time this is released, we should be knowing if we're going to South Florida or not. But at the time of me filming this, we aren't sure yet. Our plans kind of fell through last minute, unfortunately. Kind of the same thing happened last year. But we are still trying to make it happen. We're trying to go through some things to kind of work it out and see what we want to do with that. If not, we will hunt our youth season here. We've got several different options to go through with that. We've got several different people we could take and go film with, and we'll probably even split up and go film some different people. So so that's kind of that. We'll jump more into the Florida thing in a minute. So on this podcast, we're actually trying a new audio system here. It's a little different setup. We went and we now have a new camera. We now have a more expensive microphone, as well as a voice recorder and a clip-on mic that we can use during our hunts to have on our chest for whoever's hunting. And like I said, we already got the big microphone, the shotgun mic for the camera, and of course we'll have a couple different cameras rolling throughout the hunts, and we're going to do our very best to capture everything and edit it right and make sure everything looks good. This has been a lot of fun so far, to say the least. I think me and Will, we've both talked several times, and I think we both are kind of surprised at how well it's going, honestly. It's certainly going better than I thought it would. So, super blessed for that. So, yeah. So, hopefully y'all have enjoyed listening as much as we've enjoyed making these podcasts. And now the real adventure starts with coming out with turkey hunting videos. Kind of go into what we plan on doing as far as uploading. It's going to change. Now everything starts, and we're going to be a lot more busy hunting every day and that sort of thing. I'm going to talk about our schedule for uploading and that kind of thing. So, but before, like I said, man, I've already said it once, but man, we're super blessed and super proud of how everything's going. We're working hard to make this happen and make this work, and we're working on a project right now that we're not going to jump into, but something I think our viewers, regardless of who or what you are, I think you're going to really enjoy it. So we got a little thing in the making right now for that. And before I hop into the upload thing, I just kind of want to talk about some of our previous videos. I think the intro video at this point has already been released. Yep, it should have already been released last Thursday. So hopefully you enjoyed that. That's just some clips from past turkey seasons that we've kind of put together to use. We said in our intro video beforehand, kind of we introduced ourselves that we have filmed some of our turkey hunts in the past with phones or other cameras, that kind of thing, but never really took it seriously. So I think that was a pretty cool video. It turned out pretty cool. Certainly got my blood going for it, and if you haven't watched that, go check it out. And then of course the podcast I've already talked about the week before was a shorter one, kind of talking about a drastically different thing than what we have talked about in the past on our podcast series. So yeah, but now to jump into the upload schedule. So the reason behind this change is, like I said, we're going to be turkey hunting all day, and we're going to be super busy. So it's going to be kind of hunting in the day and editing at night for me and Will. So our plans are, most of the time our turkey hunt videos are going to be going up on Wednesday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then what we plan on doing is either putting a podcast and or a hunting video up on Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock as well, depending on how the week's going. We're going to try to film a hunt for every week, or we're going to be filming more for every week, is what I'm saying, but have a video to post every week. And depending on how it goes with a kill or not, depends on how many videos a week we're going to produce. And if not, we're going to try to either post a podcast or any other video up on the channel. Just kind of that way we continue to have 2 videos a week. We've been trying to do Monday and Thursday at 9 o'clock in the morning, but now it's going to switch to Sunday and Wednesday 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's just kind of what we kind of think would be our best option as far as keeping videos out and that kind of thing. So after this video, this coming Thursday morning, there should be a pattern video coming out. We're going to get together and pattern all of our guns, kind of show you the way we do it, and then shoot some turkey load through it to see, kind of just show y'all the combinations we use as far as choke, shell, that kind of thing, and talk about how we see it perform, and you will obviously see it perform as well. That's just kind of what we've always done before turkey season, to say, okay, we know our guns are going to shoot right going into the season, and that's kind of our last little thing we do checklist wise for turkey season. We've already got our vests and everything packed, our camouflage is ready to roll, everything's been washed, clean, and been calling non-stop in the house, driving my parents crazy, and so as Will. So just getting excited for it, and that'll kind of be our last video on a Thursday. And then, man, next thing you know, we're either going to be in South Florida, which like I said I'll talk about in a minute, or we're going to be hunting that youth weekend. So it'll be 2 days after that video that you'll see this Thursday. It'll be rolling. So our plan is to post South Florida or depending on where we go, the youth hunt that Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and then our turkey season, our actual season, does not open to the 22nd, which is the Friday following that weekend. So we should have video again for either that Wednesday, or we can maybe try to get open and morning out by Sunday, depending on how that goes. And if not, like I said, have it for Wednesday, and then we'll obviously hunt all week, or all weekend and all week. We're planning on traveling that weekend and going to a different part of the state to hunt open weekend, staying up there together and having a good time. And we kind of talked about maybe entering the Strut Master contest, because it's around that same area we're going to be in for that weekend, depending on obviously the weather, that kind of thing. And just depends on what we want to do. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff in store for y'all, and just kind of wanted to let y'all know the channel update as far as that goes. But we're going to jump into some other things, but I just wanted to get that out the way with real fast. So that's kind of the upload schedule and all that. That way you can kind of know what's going on. So yeah, we're going to talk about Florida. So we've kind of had a plan to go since about well, really we tried to go last year, and our plans literally the week before season opened, we ditched it and just kind of decided, well, one, the weather was going to be bad, and I think there was like 80-90% chance of rain that open weekend, and there was just kind of no point in going. But we were still probably going to try it, and it just ended up falling through. And kind of the same thing this year. The weather doesn't look awfully bad, but like I said, just not really going to get into detail about it, but the plans kind of fell through. We are still trying to work on something to get to go, because we obviously do want to go really bad. But I'm filming this like a week in advance, and the South season has already opened in South Florida. We call it South Florida because that's just kind of, it's below a certain road or whatever in Florida, and that their season's already open. And the reports so far aren't great, to be honest. There is a lot of water in Florida. From what we've heard, it's been a very wet winter in Florida, more than normal, and it is extremely deep water, which makes the hunting harder and easier in the same sense. It groups the turkeys up, which makes it easier, but it also makes it so hard to navigate because Florida is a thick jungle essentially down there in that part of the state, and trying to get around water and avoid alligators and cottonmouths and pythons and black panthers and that sort of thing it's obviously hard in itself. But then you throw in water that is, chest deep, trying to have to get around it and walk miles around these giant ponds, and everything is just so different than what we're used to. And that's just kind of what we've heard from other creators that we follow along with, and just kind of seeing most of the people down there are already struggling. It's only the first day down there of regular season, so certainly not what you want to hear. But like I said, we are going to try to figure something out to go, and worst case scenario, we're still going to get to hunt that weekend. We're lining up to maybe take Evan and film him hunting, or we've got, like I said, we got some other options of people we could take and go along with, and so we're going to have a video regardless of turkey hunting, but still really want to try to go to South Florida. We're going to kind of talk about some of my other plans if Florida doesn't go through. Like I said, we were talking about doing maybe the Strut Masters this year, or even looking at going to another state like Georgia and or Alabama. I know both of their seasons last longer than ours does, particularly Georgia. Georgia starts later than ours does and ends later than ours does. And obviously there's several different states. The farther north and west you go, open at different times, but it's just really going to come down to time, because like we have school and jobs and everything, and trying to navigate around that. Obviously expenses is something you have to take into account, and this is something that we've kind of gone through now for 2 years, just trying to balance expense with time, and trying to say, okay, if we're going to go hunt these different states, we need to really have a game plan on how to do that. And we don't feel comfortable going until we know for sure, A, we have the money, and B, we're going to have a good enough time and a decent of the success of a turkey hunt. So that's kind of what we balance when we say we're going to go hunt such and such state for public land and that kind of thing. Regardless, throughout our lives, we're going to do it. But this is kind of the thing we get into it as we are. We're just now starting it. This is kind of something we want to go through and talk about, and make sure that everything's going to be as successful and everything as it can be. Like I said, we are going to go travel and hunt some of the upstate. Well, it's not really the upstate. Most of South Carolina is considered the low country or whatever, but it's at the top of our state, I guess. So we're going to kind of talk about hunting up there, opening weekend, and like I said, we plan on traveling somewhere this year. We just aren't sure. South Florida or another state, but we're really trying. Me and Will are working extremely hard to figure out some kind of way to go to Florida, as well as some kind of way to go to another state at some point this year. So like I said, we're gonna try hard about that, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and we just have to accept it. And like I said, we'll have a good long turkey season here, and that's kind of a good segue to jump into sorry, I keep losing my train of thought. That's a good segue to jump into kind of our expectations for the season. I kind of often tell people my goal every year in turkey season is to learn something new. I've probably talked about it on the podcast before, I'm not sure, but I want to learn something new every year. Like 2 years ago, I kind of started to learn about terrain and how it affects turkey hunting, and how you want to be higher than a turkey when calling to him, and never want to be below him, that kind of thing. And Last year I really improved my calling. I feel like I learned more of soft calling and really worked on my clucking and purring and my bubble clucks and that kind of thing to really develop my calling. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I obviously have a long way to go, but that was kind of the thing last year. So this year, I just want to get better at turkey hunting. I want to be vigilant to learn and be paying attention to mistakes I make each year and to learn from that. So I think Will brought it up in I think it was episode 3 or 4. Will was talking about how don't educate a turkey, let a turkey educate you, and that's super important. As a turkey hunter, you need to learn every possible thing you can that a turkey will teach you. So that's kind of my expectations, man. I'm fine with going and just getting to go, and it's going to be super cool to be able to film all this stuff for the first year, and so super excited about it. I can't believe we're already here, man. Every time I say that, I just don't understand how. Just like just yesterday, we stopped turkey hunting, and super excited for it. But kind of some more expectations is we just want to have fun. We really want to enjoy it, soak it in, make kind of. Obviously, it's not possible to make time slow down, but we want to try to make time slow down and really just soak it in and enjoy it, because turkey season only lasts, 40 days or whatever for us. So depending on if we travel or not, it'd be longer. But regardless, we want to we just want to enjoy it, just soak it in. If we kill a turkey, we want to sit there for an hour or two and just sit down and just talk about it and laugh and just have a good time. And so that's another thing. We really want to have a good time. And another expectation is we want to make less mistakes. Like I said, I wanted to learn more from each mistake I made, and I feel like now I want to now kind of look at making less mistakes each year. Obviously, as a turkey hunter or hunter in general, or as a person in general, you're going to make mistakes in life, in hunting and turkey hunting. So just kind of want to limit those mistakes is another one of my goals. But that's kind of that. If we end up going to Florida, we have different expectations. We've never hunted South Florida. We're not really familiar with the terrain other than using OnX. So, that's kind of one of our expectations, I would say, is to learn about Florida. Another expectation we have is really not to even kill a turkey. We kind of plan on going into Florida, if we go, with the mindset of, probably won't kill a turkey. May not even hear a turkey. May not even see a turkey track. But you know what? We're going to go down there, and like I said already, we're going to have fun. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to soak in the experience that it is and understand this is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Hopefully, maybe it won't be once in a lifetime, but regardless, it's something you don't get to do a lot in life. And just want to go down there, man, just have a good time and not really worry about killing a turkey. Of course, if it happens, sure, great, but just really want to go enjoy it. And we grew up watching certain people, Primos and Dave Owens and these kind of people go down there and take their vehicles and everything down there and see how much fun that they have, and we want to experience that same thing. So that's kind of our expectations for Florida. There really aren't many, to be honest, just because we know how difficult it will be. There's not many places, or there is only one place in the world you can kill an Osceola, and that is South Florida. So a lot of people go, and a lot of pressure, a lot of competition, and so on. So it's certainly a hard thing. So that's kind of our expectation in Florida, is no expectation. So that's kind of that. We're going to jump into, I know this is kind of a very fast-paced podcast, being that it's just myself, but trying to do the best I can here, not to miss anything and talk about everything we need to talk about. So we're going to jump into a story from last youth season, from 2023's youth season. There's a turkey that I killed, and Will was along with me. It is a very emotional story, so I'll try not to get too emotional about it. We wanted to save it for the last episode, and I hate that Will's not here with me to talk about it, because he is one that shared this experience with me. But I think it's important to talk about it for my sake and for Will's sake. So we're going to jump into it. So as I've already said, last year we had planned to go to South Florida, and like when I tell you the last the last second, our plan just fell through. Like, it was literally, we were gonna leave on, I think we were gonna leave on Thursday afternoon, and get there that Friday. I can't really remember exactly what the plans were because they just disappeared. But regardless, we were gonna go to South Florida, and then a week before, like I said, I think it was the Friday before we would have left. The plans fell through. And at the time, my granddad was still living. And he had been kind of sick at this point. He had been kind of struggling, so me and Will kind of both just took it on the chin and accepted that it just wasn't meant to be. It was a year that we probably don't need to go for Florida for some reason. At the time, we didn't know why. But we just kind of knew that it wasn't right, wasn't the time to go. We kind of just said, okay, not the right timing, we'll go next year. So we started preparing for our youth season. At the time, I would have been 17, so I would have been able to hunt last year. So it would have been my last youth season. So I began to scout and really hone in on this one piece of property that I knew had turkeys on it. And I really began to scout and pay attention to those turkeys. I probably listened to them, man, 2.5 weeks straight. From the first day of March to the day it opened, I probably listened almost every morning or afternoon, seeing where they were roosting at. And I began to pick up the pattern. They roosted in the same spot every single night, almost in the same tree. And they would pitch down in almost the exact same spot. But the spot they were pitching down in was a place that we couldn't hunt because it wasn't our property. So I kind of began to think of a game plan, knew we had to play our cards right, that sort of thing. So opening morning comes, we go to this property, and funny enough, we actually had a camera with us. We did have a camera. Will was filming, but the camera was so bad and the audio was so bad you couldn't even hear or see, and that's a lot of the reason why we kind of learned from our mistakes and wanted to do this. So we got this spot I felt like we could get to in the dark. We could have been more aggressive, being it was the first day of the season. I didn't want to spook these turkeys, so we kind of laid back and we were kind of conservative. We could have gotten closer to them in the dark, but I wanted to lay back a little bit. So we got to a spot where I felt comfortable that we could probably call these turkeys to us, but at the same time not take a chance of spooking them off the roost. So sun comes up, I call, nothing. I mean, didn't hear a peep. But I knew these turkeys were here. And Will had never been out here, and I kept telling Will, I said, Will, these turkeys are here. There's no doubt in my mind they're here. I just heard them 2 nights ago. I know they're here. I don't know why they're not gobbling, because it was a little wet that morning because I think it had rained the day before, but it was beautiful. It was sunny, birds were chirping. It was just one of those turkey hunt mornings you say, okay, what's going on? Why is there not a turkey gobbling? And I still to this day do not know why they did not gobble on the roost, because I went back a couple weeks later and they burned it up on the roost. But anyway, that's another story. But we sat there and called nothing. So we get up, we start moving closer to where we thought the turkeys would have been. That they were on the ground, we felt like we could kind of become a little more aggressive, if you will, knowing that they wouldn't be able to pick us off from above. So we eased up or whatever, and I called several more times, nothing. So we said, okay, we'll leave and we'll go somewhere else. Hate it didn't work out. So we turn around, we start walking back, and a turkey gobbles to our, it would have been to our right. No idea in the world this turkey would have been. I don't know where this turkey came from, why it was where he was at, because the place he was at, I don't even know how he got to. Can't really go into detail about it, but I'm not sure how he got over there. A lot of water and other things that was blocking him from getting there. But sure enough, he gobbled there. So hearing that, and being that bird was probably 150 yards from us, we jumped into the woods to get to cover. Didn't even have a decoy up. We kind of talked about in a previous podcast about why we ain't going to be using decoys as much this year, and that's a perfect example why we had to scramble so fast. We didn't even have time to put the decoy out. I think if we'd have tried to put the decoy out, it wouldn't have worked. Yeah, we sat down, and about that time a bird fired off. Let's see, at this point I'm trying to kind of go through and talk about it as far as the direction of everything. The bird would have gobbled to, once we'd sat down, it would have been more to our right than the first bird would have been what he gobbled. They were probably 150 yards apart from each other. The turkey we originally heard never gobbled again, but the turkey that we ended up killing, he started gobbling. Once that turkey gobbled, he started gobbling, and he started gobbling really great. I'm talking about hammering, like everything that made a noise, he gobbled. So I'd call, he'd gobble. I'd call, he'd gobble. He was slowly coming our way, but he was kind of hung up where they were pitching down at. He wasn't going to come any closer. So, as I've already talked about in this podcast, I wanted to develop my soft calling more. That's what broke this turkey. That's what sealed the deal, was when I started clucking and purring real light, yelping real light. He became convinced that there was a hen over there, and she was content where she was at. She wasn't moving, so I better go to her. And sure enough, he gobbled his whole way in. He got closer, and he gobbled one time, probably 80 yards, 70 yards from us. At that point, I just got quiet, didn't make another peep. And here he come. He came easing up the wood line to us, and he was at about 40 yards. And I get real. I think a lot of turkey hunters do. I get real antsy about wanting to shoot quicker than I should, and I shot and luckily connected with him, and man, he didn't move a muscle. That 410 did it to him. That was the first turkey I ever killed with this particular 410. I've killed one in the past with one, but that was the first one I killed with my new gun that my granddad actually went with me to buy it, because obviously I wasn't old enough at the time to buy a gun, but he helped me buy it. And I remember, like, this would have been like the I think this would have been March the 18th. I think that's when it would have been. Let's see. I'm trying to be as accurate as possible. I don't have my phone to look at. I think it was March 18th. I'm almost positive it was, because it was the 18th and 19th of that weekend. It was youth season, and I killed on the first day. So yeah, that's right. And I remember one of my buddies had killed a turkey that morning, and the first person I texted was my granddad, and I sent him a picture of it, and he immediately responded and said, sorry, I'm trying to get choked up. He immediately responded, telling me congratulations and everything, and he told me that my little 410 did the trick, and I said yes sir, and he kept asking me questions. At this point, I hadn't been able to call him and talk about it yet because it had just happened. And he asked me if Will was with me, and I told him yes sir, that Will was right here beside me when it all happened. He got the experience just as I did, and I won't ever forget what he told me after that, and it's something that will stick with me for the rest of my life. He sent me a text back that told me I was becoming a pro, and that means the world to me. I still have the text message on my phone, and because of the way this story ends, that really does mean the world to me. And to know that he believed in me like that, and seen my passion, and seen how much it meant to me, and for him to say that to me, it meant the world. And he ended up passing away 8 days later. So a week and a day after I had killed that turkey, he went to be with Jesus. And super emotional thing for sure. I'm trying my best not to get choked up just talking about it. But it's crazy how things work out. It really is. You go from being at such a low, from not being able to go to Florida to killing a turkey. Well, before I say that, you go from not being able to go to South Florida and not understanding why. Why did we not go to South Florida? Why was that? Why did this happen? To killing a turkey and understanding that now, knowing I wouldn't have ever killed a turkey if I went to South Florida more than likely, but I was able to kill one more turkey before my granddad died, and for him to be able to to talk about it and see the turkey, because I brought the turkey here and to his house and talked about it and showed it to him, and that was the last one I had to kill before he died. So you know, kind of understanding how perspective works and learning that was my way of, or that was our way of sending him out on a good note, or having a good memory is one of our last memories. You know, we didn't go to Florida, and I think the reason is you know, our granddad was gonna pass away over a little over a week later, and I was able to harvest a turkey and celebrate it with him. And if it wouldn't been for that, I wouldn't have. Or if it would have been for us going to Florida, I wouldn't have had that experience. And would have had less time to spend with him, because we'd have been gone that whole weekend. So, it's crazy how things work. It really is. And like I said, I'll always have that text message that he sent to me. Yeah, man, that's something that I hold dear to my heart now, and it's just, every time I talk about it, it's just a crazy thing to even talk about, you know. And then Will goes on. Let's see, it would have been, let's see, he killed a turkey a week later to the day that our papa passed away. A week later, in the exact same spot that my granddad took us turkey hunting as kids. And then he talks about the red bird landing in the tree right next to him as the turkeys are coming in. It's so crazy to even talk about. But that's one of the coolest turkey hunt stories I've been a part of. And like I said, I hate Will isn't here to talk about it, but he knows about the story, obviously, because he lived it, and I think he'll like hearing about it. So, but to kind of jump out of the sadder thing now, that's kind of a sad story. But back to more positive thoughts and happy thoughts is, man, as I start wrapping this podcast up, we are less than a week away from getting a turkey hunt, and we are less than 2 weeks away from our regular season in South Carolina. So this will be the last podcast episode pre-spring, you could say. We're gonna see about making some podcasts during the season. May not have time for it, but regardless, this has been such a fun thing to do, to come together with different friends and talk about these different stories, and see the impact that it's having on you, and listening to people, you know, text me or whatever and tell me, you know, how cool it is to hear about these stories, and you know, that kind of thing, and seeing the view that it gets and that people really like listening. It means the world. It really does. It's so cool to know that people like watching our videos. So we're beyond blessed, and you know, want to give all the credit and glory to God. Without him, nothing's possible, and we look forward to turkey season. Like I said, we're on that final stretch. We've had to sit through another day this year thanks to leap year, but it's here. This is it. This is our last send off, and next time we see y'all, we'll be patterning our guns, and then after that, the next time you see us, we will be wearing mossy oak bottomland, and we will be in the turkey woods, listening to the birds chirp, the owls hoot, and turkeys gobbling. So so excited for it, and can't believe it's here. But man, just excited, ready to have a good fun season, and can't wait to get it started, and can't wait for y'all to come along with us. So hope you enjoyed episode 6 of Speakin Spring. Probably the last one, so hopefully you enjoyed it for this season anyways. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and we look forward to making more in the future, and making them next year, and so on and so forth. So hope y'all enjoyed as always, and we'll catch y'all when it's turkey season.